Welcome to Sports Video Analysis for multiple users. When you've logged into your iSportsAnalysis dashboard, we'll see in the left-hand navigation bar that we have the option Permission Lists. What we'll do is create a permission list. I'm presuming that we don't already have a permission list that we'd like to associate analysts for, so we will create a permission list. And there we have our new permission list. Okay, so having created a permission list, we need to add a user to our permission list. Now we have options here. We can actually copy users from one permission list to this permission list if the users already exist. For this example, I'm going to add a completely new user. And of course I need to select the permission list that we've just created. And I need to fill out all the details for the new user. Need to set a password, need to retype the password, and very importantly we need to make sure that in our select download and analysis permissions we have selected sports video analysis. This grants permission to this particular user, enabling them to analyze sessions. And when we're happy with the user details, we can add permission list user. That permission list user has now been registered to the system, to the permission list that we've selected. Having created our permission list and adding a user to our permission list, we then need to create a session. And we have options here. We could create session using the create session wizard, but because we want to manage the access levels to this particular session, we will use the create new session functionality. This session is a video and this session is on demand. And then we need to give our session the session name. We need to give it a date. We need to select a category. These categories have obviously already been set up. We can select a thumbnail. And I'm presuming for this tutorial that we already have a video uploaded. If not, we would need to go through the upload video process. By default, because this session has the permission access set to password protected content, by default the media is set to downloadable, but for this particular instance I will take the downloadable access off this session. And once I'm happy with the session details and I've checked that this session is password protected, I can create the session. Having created the session, I'm then asked to select the permission list, the list of users that have access to this particular session. And I will select the permission list that we created. And I will set the access levels. And there we have our new session. And all we're left to do with this session before we can use it is to publish this session so that it is accessible to viewers and to to channel users. So I will publish this session, and I have the option to email the permission list users notifying them that this session has been published. I won't do that this instance. I will just recap that what we've done is we've created a permission list. I'm presuming the permission list doesn't already exist. I'm adding a user to that permission list. That permission list is effectively a list of users that have permission to access content associated with that particular permission list. So we've created a permission list, we've added a user to that permission list, we've created a session, we've created a password protected session, and we've allocated the permission list that we created with our user to that particular session. And we've published our session so it is accessible. Now what we'll do is we'll sign out, and we will sign into the channel as if we were one of our users that wanted to analyze this particular session. Obviously, our permission list would have however many users in it that we wanted to analyze this session. For this example, we just have the one user. So we'll log in with the details we've just given that user, and there we can see we have our session as part of our dashboard. So I will analyze this session. Before I analyze this session, I do have the option to create a code window. I won't create a code window, but if I wanted to create a code window, I could create a code window. There are tutorials on how to create code windows. For this particular example, I'm just going to analyze this session, and I'm going to analyze this session using a code window that is one of the iSportsAnalysis defaults. I will select the session. This is the session that we've just created. And here we are. So in this particular layout, we have the video of the match, we have the code window on the right hand side, and underneath the video we have the timeline, and the timeline is comprised of all of the different actions that are available in our code window. We do have some other functionality here. We can edit the code window so that we can zoom in and out using our mouse, and we can move the code window around, the canvas around, to position it in a place where we're comfortable as to how we work, and we can turn that off. We can also show the connectors. So basically this is all of the connections between the actions and tags and actions, etc. We can display those if we want to. By default, we've got highlight tags. That means when we press an action, the tags are highlighted to show which tags are relevant to that particular action. I'll leave that set. Over here above the video, we've got unlock video, and I can move the video around just to create more space on my screen. I can lock the video. I can unlock the code window. I can do exactly the same thing with that. And also what's very, very nice is if I scroll down to the bottom of my code window, I can actually make this shorter, which means I can completely design my layout to the way that suits my coding. And what I can then do, having done that, I can lock that code window so now it's no longer movable. Whoops. I can lock that code window so it's no longer movable. I can scroll through that code window, accessing all my actions and tags, and I can unlock my timeline. I can bring my timeline up to a place that suits me. I can also, having created that space, make my timeline the full width of the screen. I can lock my timeline, and there we go. That is my preference as to how I work when coding a match. And if I play my video, I can see my video begins, I can see my timeline synchronizes, and therefore I'm absolutely set up to analyze this match. Thank you very, very much for watching.